Some background info about me. I am currently a 22-year-old male, 6'3", and was a mild insomniac. This event occurred 2 years ago in the winter of 2015. I was 20 and still living at a home in rural Michigan. The nearest liquor store was a 7-Eleven 5.5 miles away. The car ride was 15 minutes through potholed dirt roads and overhanging oak trees that created a dark natural walkway along the sides of the road. I would frequently visit the 7-Eleven between 1 to 3 a.m. every night or so. One night in early November, I arrived a little later around 3:45 a.m. I always parked closest to the building where the lights from inside the storefront windows gave a clear lit path to the main entrance. I noticed a medium-sized red work van through my rear view mirror. No vehicle besides the night shift worker's car and mine would typically be parked that late. The car looked old and the paint was chipped and rusting away. With the windshield facing the store, the light from inside barely reached the front of the van. What appeared to be a large black figure was sitting completely still in the driver's side passenger seat. The car was running and I assumed the driver was inside purchasing some snacks or liquor. I felt uncomfortable but not scared. I walked inside observing the hardly visible figure from the corner of my eye. I started to become suspicious when I was the only customer in the store. I found my favorite pistachios and walked up to the counter. The clerk is usually in the back, so I rang the bell once. Ding. Nothing. One long minute passed. Ding. Again. Nothing. Ding. I became paranoid as I rang the bell 3 more times, each without any kind of human reply. The red van engine started and appeared to be leaving the parking lot. Ding. No reply. Where's the damn clerk? I thought to myself. He was always quick to cash me out and never took this long. I called out, "Hey, is anyone back there?" Nothing. I called out a few more times and started to feel nervous for the guy, thinking he might be hurt in the back room. I walked through the flap doors separating the counter. "Hello? Are you injured?" I walked down the hall and opened the bathroom door and turned the light on. No one. I checked the back room. The TV was on with the audio muted, yet no one was there. I was frantic now. His car was there. However, the clerk was missing. Nowhere to be found in the building. Out of nowhere, I heard the approach of a vehicle and looked out to witness the same red van parked next to my car, and a new middle-aged bald man was now in the driver's seat. He stared directly at me through the front windows. I only gave him a quick glance and tried to play it off as if I was waiting for the clerk. Shit. Thread began to forcibly stitch into my bones. Did this random man kidnap the clerk and come back for me, I thought? The hair on the back of my neck and forearms stood up straight. Not a minute later, the clerk enters from the main entrance and the overwhelming smell of weed hits my nose. The idiot was stoned and smoking in his car the entire time. I sighed with relief. I rang out while the man kept his eyes locked on the back of my head. I walked out and was about to get in my car when I heard a tapping sound. It is coming from the van window beside my car. I look up and blown back by fright. At the left rear view mirror was a black masked and black hooded face looking straight through the glass. I quickly got into my car and drove home. I called the police but nothing ever came of it. I frequent that 7-Eleven often and have not seen that van since. I went to 7-Eleven this morning around 2 a.m. and found another van parked in the same off-road parking spot. I was feeling bored, however, and after I cashed out, I walked out to the middle of the parking lot and rested my bag on the cement. I stared at the van for a good 10-ish minutes before it spun off and drove down a country road. I live out in the country, and about a short walking distance from my house is a highway, and on the corner is a 24/7 gas station. Last week, I went by there right before midnight to grab some cajun peanuts. I see one car parked on the side, which is normal, usually just a guy working, and rarely any customers at this time. Do you ever feel this dread overcome you, like you know something is wrong? Well, I walk in and I don't see anyone. Nobody behind the counter or in the store, so I take my time and assume they are in the bathroom or stepped in the back of the store. Surely they heard the chime at the door when I came in. I'm feeling weird and uncomfortable, so I wait a minute even though it seems like forever, so I call out, "Is anyone there?" I wait a minute more and put the peanuts down and walk out the door. I checked the car parked on the side and there wasn't anything troubling. I even glanced on the back side of the store and there was nobody there. I'm pretty uncomfortable, so I just called the police. They show up 10 to 15 minutes later and they search the place. They find the cashier dead in the men's bathroom. beaten to death. The guard didn't back up and then asked me to recap what I experienced, and then I went home. That ain't even the fucked up part. So I get home and my dog is in the front yard pissing and just staring at me. He is an inside dog and my front door is cracked open. My heart is racing, so I grab my dog, head back to the gas station and let the police know. They sent one of the guys to search my house. Nothing is stolen or out of place, but there was a sign of forced entry. So this was last week, and about 5 hours ago I get a call from my brother who works for the county sheriff's office. Supposedly they pulled the camera footage and about 10 minutes before I walked into the store, someone came and started punching on the cashier, then dragged him into the bathroom. On the footage you can see me walk in, look around and call out, and then you can see me walk out and check out the car, walk to my vehicle and make a call. About the time I'm in the vehicle, the alleged murderer walks out of the bathroom and sneaks out the back door before leaving the view of the camera. He takes off in the general direction of my house. Fortunately, my wife was out with some friends watching Beauty and the Beast, but I'm convinced that I missed the murderer at the gas station and then he broke into my house. This week I had a new security system installed alongside a new front door, but I'm pretty sure whoever did this is still out there. I think it was a coincidence that he broke into my house. It was late at night and there were no vehicles, and since my house is within 200 yards, it was probably just an opportunity. I was driving the annual 5-hour drive to my cousin's house where my extended family meets every Christmas. I had just gotten out of class that evening, so I was about 3 hours in around 1 to 2 a.m.ish. I stopped by a rest stop because I really needed to go to the restroom. I've been to this rest stop many times before, ever since I was young, since it's always been between my house and my cousin's house. It's a little vacant, but usually around Christmas there's a couple families there in the day, then a few lone truckers or drivers in the night. Let me first describe the layout of the rest stop. It's somewhat forested by the road. It's almost laid out like a camping outpost. There's a square in the middle with some bulletin boards and vending machines. The front half of the square next to the parking lot has a set of bathrooms, and the back half has another seat. I parked and noticed this time it was completely empty. It was late at night, but even the road was quieting down. There was no cars. Just really felt eerie. I walked from my car and got to the middle of the first half of the square, where I could see straight across, which was maybe 30 or 40 feet away. There I realized there was somebody really tall, like 7 feet tall, just standing out of the light of the lamppost all the way across the area. He was just standing there, watching me. I don't know what else he could have been doing. I freeze and think about it. There's no way that I could possibly do anything against someone 3 times my size. I was even more terrified on what would happen if I went in the girls' restroom and I walked out to see him right there at the door. So I turned around and started back to my car. He started walking in the same direction, keeping the same horizontal pace with me while moving a little diagonally, slowly closing the distance. When he gets almost halfway to me, I run to my car, too scared to even look back. I hear him running across the grass. I get into my car and back as fast as I can. I can see him maybe 15 feet from the front of my car and getting extremely close. I peered to the left, speeding back onto the highway, not looking back. It was the last part that really keeps me shaken up after that. Before I was able to think that maybe he was just a janitor or a random person who would just happen to go in my direction. But from then on I knew for sure he was coming for me. And why? How was he there? I saw no other cars or anything. I'll never forget that moment where I just froze like a deer in the headlights, seeing him just standing there still across the rest area. I'm only going to go into those in the daytime from now on.